Hey everyone, this is Lee Smallwood from NOD3x.com, or NOD3x as I funnily call it from time to time. And I'm here with John Dietrich, also, that many of you will know from the community and broader across Google+. So we're going to be adding a few people in here who'd like to appear in the panel, and if you've got any questions and things like that, then you can obviously ask them within here, or obviously within the events comments. So this HOA is more about showing you what changes we've done, why we've done it. You know, I released a post at the beginning of the week and then one yesterday in terms of our change of infrastructure. It's a big word for a Friday afternoon here in the UK, but you do get double points for using it in Scrabble if you're into that. But ultimately, let's first discuss why we did it and what's happening with that whole changeover right now, and then I can start taking you through some changes that we're implementing imminently, and you'll be the first to hear it and see it as well, and I welcome your feedback on all of that. So first of all, the infrastructure. Over the last 3 years, NOD3x has been using Amazon servers, which we still use. I don't really have any major preference over other service providers. It's just that that's how we started it out. Now, from version 1, which we launched back in late 2011, to version 3, which we launched in July this year, we've been still using the same database infrastructure as we did in version 1. Now, in version 1, when we first launched, we went from having 100 users to 500 users within a month, and now we have 5,000 daily regular users and 25,000 monthly regular users on top of that, which drop in and drop out. So the difference between then and now is vastly different. So a change was needed, and unfortunately to implement that change has taken quite some time in order to try and plan it accordingly, because you can imagine over the years we've indexed quite a lot of posts, not just from Google+, but also from Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, and more lately Instagram. So that migration and transition needed careful planning in order to make sure that this is Forward from NOD3x.com, or NOD3x as I funnily call it from time to time, and I'm here with. I've just muted you, Ian. Sorry, because you're on a bit of a feedback loop on that one. If you want to say anything, just wave. And so, yeah, the careful planning and putting forward, and it was quite a challenge actually, because not only have we got index profiles, but index posts and vast quantities of data and people's projects, and trying to align everything. So what we planned to do was basically create a new infrastructure of where, rather than just having say 2 servers, we would be able to create a central core server with clusters going around that, in order to improve the efficiency and optimization and speed and things like this. It's got now to the stage where we basically have 20 servers, and those 20 servers are basically indexing from different social platforms, profiles. They're analyzing who's influential and what they like to talk about and things like this. And there's a lot of processing also taking place at the same time in terms of what language this is in. Is the post positive, neutral, or negative? Is the opinion positive, neutral, or negative? Things like that, and then all of that happens at the time that we actually index the post. So that's taken a long time, and there was a transition period between moving from old to the actual new structure. So we had to create a backup of all of the old data and then create a duplicate of it in order to take the strain within the transition. Now, all of this is kind of under the bonnet kind of stuff. You know, you don't necessarily need to know all of this. You know, it's kind of like driving a car. You don't need to know how an engine works in order to, you know, press the accelerator down and move forward. However, from the scale of things, we needed just that extra bit in order to take the load off when we were migrating. And that worked quite well, and I think many of you saw an improvement in speed and performance between Tuesday and Wednesday. And then yesterday we switched over from the temporary structure to the new structure. And happy to report we're now actually running just under 20 times faster than we were from version 1 infrastructure to now. There has obviously been some bit of teething things on there as well. A couple of you pointed out late last night, James and Dursley, thank you for this as well, that you weren't able to actually sign in for a period of time, and apologies to anyone that actually experienced that. It was a case of one of the databases not quite connecting at the right speed, but that was taken care of, I believe, about 5 o'clock this morning, so that should all be okay. And now we're all set up for being able to scale as more and more users come on board, or more importantly, as we add new kind of functionality, which I'll be coming into shortly, on or to NOD3x, and that won't affect how we deliver the insights. So it should really be still now instantaneous, or will continue to be as fast as it is now, irrespective of the amount of users that we have coming on, or signing up, or logging in at any one time, and also how fast we can process the insights. That's where we are right now. In terms of where do we go from here? Well, many of you are still, I believe, you know, and this is my fault, no one else's fault, in terms of, you know, we need training materials, we need a little bit more help, and John, bless him, you know, he's working flat out. You can see the stress on him, and his, you know, the harder he works, the longer his moustache and beard grows. So, you know, I can tell how hard he's working on any one particular day. And I know he's working flat out. And the training materials, as I keep promising, and you know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, as they say, is as fast as I've been writing them, we've been implementing new stuff which has made them obsolete. Now I'm going to kind of push these out there anyway, and actually I'm going to be editing the videos with new changes that as and when we add them, or make a video with a link to a new one if, you know, when we create the new ones or the new updates. So those are coming out, and those you will have by the middle of next week. And these training videos are basically will cover everything you need to start a project on NOD3x, but looking at it from your perspective. Because one of the biggest questions is, it's like, you know, you've got this tool here, and there are many out there, all right? But more importantly, it's like, well, what can I do with it? You know, I was chatting with Ian this morning, and I had a great chat, and it was quite interesting just to kind of delve beneath the hood a little bit more, and it kind of opened my eyes just a little bit to looking at things, or trying to give examples of how the NOD3x can be used in order to, let's just say, answer a series of questions that you may be needing to ask or answer, either from your perspective, or whether from an agency perspective, or a consultancy perspective, or even from an internal team's perspective for a brand. You know, you've got a reporting chain going up, so there are questions which are being pushed down, you know, in terms of, let's say, what are the best times to post, what piece of content resonates more with people talking about this in this discussion topic. NOD3x can answer all of those. Which platform generates, or which social network generates the most discussions relating to a specific topic. Now, the most talked about on a specific platform doesn't necessarily mean those are the best conversations, you know, because there's a whole lot of noise out there as well, which, you know, we need to filter. And I say we, it's we as users and understanding how the data flows. So there are tricks and tips within NOD3x that you can use to filter out that noise, again, depending on what you want to do. So I'm going to be putting together a series of these tutorials which will look at kind of like a video case study, looking at each of the different dashboards or generic dashboards that I have saved over the last 3 years. And I'm hoping each one of these will at least cover your interests in some way, shape or form, or topics that are interesting to you or your clients that you're acting on behalf of. So some of the things will be in there, will definitely be in there, are things that trend, news, sport, travel, entertainment, covering movies, shows and TV, looking at advertising, looking at, if your thing is, from your perspective, social media or digital communications, and how to track those kind of things. How to look and use NOD3x to, from a content marketing perspective. Yeah, one of the conversations I had this morning was a case of, let's have a look at what's out there. How long ago was this content created? Is there any way that we can build upon what's been used previously and create new content that enhances that, all right? And also then align it with what people are actually talking about, yeah? Because if people aren't talking about it, should you actually create content? All right, well, that could be a yes or no. It could be that people didn't actually realize something could be done. So from like an info content perspective. But if something's constantly being talked about, and all of the things, all the topics have been saturated within that niche or that specific topic of conversation, should you generate something else? All right, well, that's a yes or no answer, depending on whether you feel, or that the people that have watched it or read it or engaged with it enough to value it as a piece of saying, that's it, I don't need anything else because it answers it. However, if it still leaves questions at the end of it, then obviously you could highlight that piece of content within your content and say, this one sparked an idea to generate this content. And then you kind of have that whole kudos thing going, you're giving credits in the right place, you're engaging with the right people, i.e. other content creators, and things like that. And NOD3x can actually help you do that. So so this is going to start right now, and well, actually from Monday, where we start doing these case studies. And what I'm going to do is create a poll, or NOD3x will create a poll. So we're going to use this new technology, which is out there, which is all great right now, you know, and it will kind of, I'm sure, you know, as Alexandra has quietly mentioned, that, you know, it's popular and it's great, and I think it's real, you know, great technology to get the feedback straight away on what's actually, or people's opinions. However, one of the things I want to push out there is that we will be guided by you on the type of content that you want created that will help you achieve more. So the first thing, the first poll that we're going to push out is, which case study would you like to see first? Okay, covering which topic? All right, and then we'll in there, we'll also add a poll question saying generic. So from a generic perspective, all right, like none of the above, but I just want to get to know things a little bit more as a case study. All right, in which case I've got one of those as well. So that's from a training perspective and my specific promise to you. I've been kind of a little bit behind the scenes over the last 8 weeks or so now, purposely, unfortunately, because we've been flat out doing all this other stuff. But hopefully now things are in place where I can now come back in and help support John, and also John support me, and be more available to answer your questions in detail. Any questions so far? John, have you heard anything? Or Ian? Or James?
I haven't heard any questions specifically. I'm hearing a lot of saying thanks for the idea of case studies. People are liking that idea.
Okay.
Looking forward to the videos. A lot of people saying good morning Suzanne, good morning Ian. Well, you're here with us, Ian and James. Thanks so much, guys, for being with us here in the film strip.
Absolutely.
It's been for me, I guess, from a little personal perspective, since this is like a community hangout. It's been a pleasure working with you guys. Really getting to meet some of you all, many of you, hearing from people all different ways of using NOD3x. From I'm interested in using it for educational purposes, to I'm interested in understanding an audience better or growing an audience, or I want to do some listening on a particular topic, or I want to get involved in an area more. I want to build relationships. There's so many ways that people are using this tool, and doing the Discovery Intro tours with folks has been great. Hearing, because that's really a one-on-one conversation I can have around how you want to use NOD3x, and it's great. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the thing is, what I like, from a subjective perspective, NOD3x started off from a very subjective idea. It was an internal application. It was very geeky, very analytical, but I understood it. It was, I created it and that kind of stuff. But when you put something out into the wild or into the public, it changes very, very quickly, because what made sense to me didn't make sense to anybody else, and that's quite right, because my mind's a mess, and I would hate to be anybody who actually understands the spaghetti bolognese of a brain that I have. I'm not saying it's any form of intellect, it's just a mess in there. But where NOD3x is now, there's no way it could have got to where it's been without the feedback and the support and the commentary and the critiquing from the people that are using it on a day-to-day basis. And I thank you for that. Everybody that's, all of its users, certainly, our help and support community, because this is where we're taking new things on from in order to develop and move it forward and evolve. So as much as NOD3x is, in its own right a thing, it's very much, and the development of it is very much driven by you. So please, if there's things in there which don't sit right, or you want things changed, or anything, even the smallest of things, then it's important you let us know. Okay. In turn, go on. Sorry, go for it.
Well, no, I know we've been talking a couple of weeks ago about adding LinkedIn into the mix, and it seems like maybe there's been some issues there, or what's going on?
Yeah, LinkedIn's a funny beast. Actually, LinkedIn is actually fully integrated right now.
Oh, okay.
And a failure of mine to actually notify people of that LinkedIn with everything else. However, having said that, it still needs development. But I tell you what, I'm going to let everybody that's watching this right now, if you can take a snapshot of everyone that's partaking, John, I'm going to give them free LinkedIn access for 1 month. Okay?
That'd be great.
As a thanks to our community. And you can test it, because again, this just needs to be evolved. Okay? And again, those people that are taking the time out to be here right now, then that's really important. It's just a thank you from myself and the rest of the team here, and also from John. So we'll make sure that's added to everybody after this HOA. Okay. So
can I ask a question on that?
Of course.
If that's right. Firstly, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
We have to stick up for ourselves, right? We everyone's good morning. We got to be good afternoon, haven't we?
Yeah, it is good afternoon. Us Brits. And we haven't come with John already.
Good evening, hey? The light is dropping. It's going. Look, just for everybody else out there, because I'm sure there's probably some people asking as well. The LinkedIn stuff. I mean, is that personal or business side, as in the business pages? What sort of information can we glean from it? What can we do with it? Any insight, as we're obviously doing this as a recorded event, would be great.
Yeah, okay. So LinkedIn currently is, there's 2 things which are live right now, and one which is going live over the weekend. Okay, so let me talk about the stuff which is live right now. Basically, let me actually share my screen on this. It will probably be a little bit easier to do, which looks like, where are you? There we go. Okay, so this is where we are right now. In the left-hand side, under Analysis Tools, you'll see when you have it added a LinkedIn link, and in here we've got Profile Analysis and Company Analysis. Okay. Now, basically, what you can do currently is analyze a profile. All right. So from LinkedIn, as we all know, is mainly used from a kind of almost like an outreach perspective and connecting perspective, trying to maybe prioritize who you're trying to make contacts with or whatever. And by entering the full URL of that profile, it will analyze what they do in every way, shape, or form, where they're based, what they like to talk about on LinkedIn, and things like that. Everything that's within the normal Google Plus profile analysis or Twitter analysis or Facebook page analysis, you will see in here. Okay, that's the first thing. The company analysis is pretty much the same, but it will analyze the whole company. And again, it will show you which sector, which country, employee, all of that company information in terms of a research perspective. All right, with a little bit more. So if someone's posting from, which people are involved with that company, high profile, all of this kind of stuff. The things which are being added to these two parts over the weekend are that you're going to be able to search for profiles in LinkedIn by a given keyword. All right. So let's just say you're looking to find, I don't know, designers in Luxembourg. All right. Then you'll be able to do that. NOD3x will produce a list of results, but providing more detail than doing a standard search on LinkedIn will do. All right, because we're looking at all of their activities as well and what they do, how active they are, across LinkedIn, and also what recommendations they have on LinkedIn. Okay, so you get like these snapshot views, and then from there you're going to be able to analyze that profile in detail. Okay, which will come out with one of these pretty graphs as well, which I will do a full explainer video on how to interpret that. Similarly, for companies, if you're looking for a company that do X, you'll be able to search NOD3x and LinkedIn for that same information. Okay, so it's very much a research perspective. From the stream perspective, you'll notice that on the dashboard, we don't yet, even though we've added LinkedIn, we do not yet have it as a LinkedIn stream. Okay, the LinkedIn stream will be coming. However, the LinkedIn stream is a very personalized stream. There's nothing we can do about that. It's based upon your number of connections that you have, what they're currently writing about, all right, in relation to a saved topic that you may have within, or a saved project that you may have within NOD3x. Okay. However, we still think it's important, because what it will do, it will separate out the people that you're connected with on LinkedIn and what they're writing about into any of your related projects. All right, so it will just filter out completely rather than you having to scroll through them. So there is some value there right now. Certainly from the testing I've been doing, and keeping an eye on topics that are of interest to me and also to us as an organization, either from a consultative perspective or from a NOD3x perspective. It kind of just filters down through. So those will be live over the weekend. Okay. Does that help, James? Cool. Great stuff.
Yes. Sorry, I was taking myself off of mute. There you go. The delayed reaction. Sorry about that.
You're fine. Any other questions on? Let me just stop sharing my screen right now. Any other questions on that right now?
Well, I'll tell you what. John has, I think, has just disappeared off. I think. Oh no, he's back again. There you are.
Yeah, it's been jumping in and out for some reason. I think I noticed Ian had a question about groups on LinkedIn. Ian,
Yeah.
did you?
Yeah, I think. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think one of the kind of powerful features of LinkedIn, I think, are groups. It's a great way of building relationships.
Agreed.
And interaction. So I just wondered, how do you think NOD3x will integrate with groups? Will it?
Yes, it does. And what I was saying, from your own personal connections perspective, the stream will actually not only incorporate people that you are directly connected to, but also the groups that you're members of. All right, so you'll get all of that information from all of the groups that you are actually members of as well. All right.
That's great. Brilliant.
Cool. No problem.
I was going to ask another question just about Twitter. I mean, I'm a big Twitter user as well as Google+, and you briefly talked about that this morning, but I just wondered, can you maybe just fill us in with what NOD3x can do from a Twitter point of view? Because I think a lot of us have used it for Google+, but how about Twitter?
Yeah. So basically, the same functionality is available for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, News, and will also be for LinkedIn, plus the other data sources that we're adding over the next few weeks, like Tumblr, Vine, and Pinterest as well, that you can, let me show you actually, it'll probably be far easier. So again, they say a picture paints 1,000 words, right? So in here then, let me just change the data source to Twitter. And for those of you who are on the premium plan or thinking about it, this is how you would change the dashboard to reflect one specific data source. So I'm just going to select just Twitter here, and then the whole dashboard just reflects that data source on its own. Okay. So in here now, what I can actually do is, if I see something, this is just a generic digital marketing project I have had running since August 2013, and these are the keywords that I'm tracking on the right-hand side. Okay. Now there are various ways I can look at this or use this dashboard. I can click on October the 9th and I can get a list of all of the posts that we indexed for it, and here we go, there they all are. All right, so I can get all of those and read all of those posts. From there you'll see there's this new grey box, and I'm going to come on to that in a minute, okay, because this is part of the new functionality that you guys are the first to see. Okay. So that's listing everything. Okay. One of the updates we did at the beginning of the week or during the week was, you know, if we can see a keyword in here which is doing more than others, you know, can we check it out? So here I've got digital media, so I can now click on that and I get all of the digital media posts. Okay, so that's a new functionality. Yeah. If I want to just check out, let's just say the media in here, this is showing all posts that contain media. Now, one of the things is, it's like, well, let's say I want to actually engage on this post. How do I do that? And actually, some people may not know how to do that even from a Google Plus perspective. Well, you can see down here, yeah, we've got three little icons, which have always been there, or two icons and then a timestamp. We've got a delete button, we've got the actual icon here where if I click it, it will open the actual post in Twitter. All right, so it will just jump out. And the reason why if it was a Google Plus post, it will have a G Plus icon on there. If it was an Instagram, it would be the Instagram icon, or Facebook, etc., etc. Yeah. But here's Twitter, and I can jump out of there, and you can see it's exactly the post that was in here, and we can see it had 2,149 retweets. Okay, so we kind of use it for clarification and trust building, because it's all well and good us saying this is what this has got, all right, as a top post and why it's appearing within NOD3x, but at least you can verify the information that we're actually showing. But what about if I wanted to engage on it without jumping out? Well, I can click the timestamp here, and the post will actually open up in NOD3x. Yeah, and from here then I can engage on it, I can retweet it, I can like it, I can do all of this kind of stuff without having to leave NOD3x. So from an engagement perspective, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Google+, Instagram, you can do all of this directly from within NOD3x, all right, using this functionality. You can even follow the people if you so wish, yeah? So that's the first part, and you can do that from anywhere. We call this a stream, yeah, so you can see the actual posts within the stream. You can do that within the dashboard anytime you'll see a stream. Under latest post, this is the stream, yeah. I can click on the timestamp and the post will actually appear, yeah. I can go to top posts, and again the stream will appear, and I can click on the actual thing to get the actual message itself. Here's one, 107,698 retweets, yeah, which is obviously quite a lot. And you can see actually in here the number of retweets within this section, 107.7 thousand. Yeah, so that's basically what we're able to, the information that we're pulling in. In terms of the sentiment, again, if I want to see all of the positive posts from Twitter relating to this subject matter, I can click on the green, which is the positive, and then just show all of the positive stuff. If I want to see all the negative, I can load all the negative up. Yeah, and again, I can, if it was a reputation management perspective, and let's say you were acting on behalf of a brand or an organization, or you're an internal team member, then you're charged with reputation management from the negative perspective, or monitoring the negative perspective, then that's all you would need to do. Yeah, you can monitor these things as they're coming in, and purely just reply to them one by one in a way which would help the reputation management. Okay. Similarly, from the positive perspective, these people are talking positively about a brand or subject or a service, then you probably want to go in there and reply to them and say thank you at least, right? Because a thank you goes a very long way these days. So that's one way we can actually do that. The other stuff that we can use with Twitter is, and I'm not going to put down anybody that writes or posts across, what are the best times of day to post on Twitter, or best times of day to post on Facebook or Instagram or Google+. Because actually, from my personal perspective, the answer is it depends, right? So let me just come off screen sharing for a second. The time of day and day of the week depends on a variety of different things. One, what's the topic of conversation? All right, what is the discussion about? Because you can't say that every platform, Twitter, the best time of day to post on Twitter is between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. irrespective of what that topic is, right? But if we're able to get granular on a subject and understand where and what time people are posting and also engaging on those posts the most, then that gives us a better understanding of when we should be scheduling our posts across Twitter or Facebook or Google+ or whatever. And this is where, breaking down and analyzing the data source individually on an individual level really helps us understand when we should be posting a specific piece of content relating to a related topic on any one specific platform. And let me show you it as an example. So, Ian, you asked specifically for Twitter. Well, on Twitter, now we know we're in the Twitter data source because 99% of the results here, okay, just under the icon are showing there. If I then go to this top hashtags, I can see what hashtags are being shared or on the top posts on Twitter, okay, being used on the top post relating to digital media on Twitter. The top days at the moment is a Friday, okay, and the top times are 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and then finally 3 p.m. We can see here that the number of engagements is massive for 12 p.m. So between 12 and 1 p.m. are the best times to share your post out in terms of trying to get, if you're pushing content out or creating content relating to digital media, Friday between 12 and 1 is the time to do it on Twitter. Okay, and those times are as per my time frame, and it changes for your time zones. Okay, so whoever looks at it from that perspective. Now, if I was to say, well, let's change the data source now. So now we've got, Friday, 12 and 1. We're still migrating the data back as well from the historic perspective. So what I'm talking about is just this pure data at the moment that we're viewing. And as the migrated data gets added back in, obviously, you need to check these things out. And it will change over time. But let me look at, say, Google+. So now everything changes to Google+, and hopefully you can see how fast that is changing in relation to the new servers working.
It's amazing. Just to me, it's incredible to see that. Yeah, I use it every day, and one morning I was like, "Good Lord, that's fast."
Yeah, me too, man. It's making me smile.
No, big smiles for sure.
Considering as well that we're on a Hangout and how much resource a Hangout uses, so
Yeah.
It's making me smile quietly, should we say? So here now we've got the influences in relation to digital marketing, and you can see we've got Social Media Examiner, as you would expect, The Verge, SEO, RT. Oh, and look, there's Mark Traugen. Hi, Mark. And we can keep going down through this list and just see, we've got Eli in here as well, and so we can see everything's related. All right. If I wanted to get the latest updates on all influential profiles, and you can do this on Twitter as well, you can send NOD3x off to get the latest things by there, and you can see there's a little update notification in the top right that NOD3x has now started getting the profile updates as well. You can do that for each of the data sources. But now let's look at the top times for Google+. We've got 5 p.m., 7 p.m., 6 p.m., 4 p.m. It's very, very different, right?
Sorry, can I just ask one question on that, Lee? Would you mind? Is that, when you say the time, is that your time zone, or is that a generic time zone, i.e. BST or PST?
Your time zone. All right, so it changes based upon your IP and where you're logged in. Okay.
I had a question actually come up during a tour. It was with Lena Sinclair. She's out in Dallas. She asked me, and I thought this was an interesting question, has anyone done a study to see, for example, I know when a topic is getting the most engagement, there is likely to be a lot of posts on that topic happening. So maybe my post would have less of an opportunity at that time. I don't know. Maybe you would.
Well, this is that is a very, very pertinent question. However, if I can come in on that, all right. So when we understand when posts, the most popular posts are getting engagement, all right, the most traction, then that gives us an understanding of saying, well, there's obviously a reason that these engagements are happening the most at these time frames, all right? So the way I interpret it is, and from implementing the insights that I've gained from NOD3x and then put it through to content and publishing, is that the people that are interested in X topic are online looking for these things at this time, or these posts at this time. Okay. Having said that, we cannot also ignore when your network receives your posts, yeah, and when they engage on your posts as well. And that's actually one of the reasons why we have within the analysis tools under Google Plus, let's just say, Google Plus activity, and I'm going to come back to this other thing in a minute, where you can load your own activity and NOD3x will analyze everything related to you, your posts, your engagers, your key engagers, when the best time is for you to schedule your post based on your network activity or network's activity. All right, and that gives you the comparison. All right, now everything, no matter who says it, is subject to change regularly. All right, because everything that you do, it's this whole, I do this, cause and effect, right? The more I build up relations with other people in different time zones will affect the time and best day and best time that I will see engagers on my posts every single time. So the more outreach and engaging I'm doing on other people's posts, the law of reciprocity will come back, it will change my own best times, okay? Now, from a other perspective, and when we're analyzing a specific discussion topic or the broader subject matter, as in what else is happening across other social media in different social platforms, we can actually hone in and say specifically, well, this is actually what's happening at these specific times. This is when other people post, they are getting the most engagement. The challenge, therefore, is how do I get my post to be more visible within the wider discussion topic rather than just me aiming it at my audience? And that actually comes through what I like to call engagement. All right? It's a really difficult word. It's brand new. Some of you may never have heard of it. All right? Engagement. When you're engaging on other people's posts, all right, it gives you greater visibility to your post because you add value to someone else's conversation. All right? Conversation being a post or whatever, or a comment, or you commenting about someone else's comment, then by you adding, thought-provoking content, value, not spamming or saying, have a look at my post, I've just written about this, all of that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying adding this something that you've read, whether it's the actual post or the comment that's been left by someone else on that post, has motivated you or compelled you to do something so much that you're adding that value to there, which when other people are reading it, they go, wow, okay, who is that person? Of course, posts and comments like, great post, this, thanks, generally spark off that compelling side, yeah? Not really. You need to be really focused on adding that value. But you will notice that those people come over to you. They do. And it does take time. But that is one of the ways that you can start to position your content subliminally within the wider discussion, yeah. And it does take time, but you can actually track it within NOD3x and how it affects the positioning of your content, either from your personal perspective or from a brand page perspective, or from a Twitter profile perspective, be it a brand or a person. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Does that
actually? Yeah, that helps. I think particularly at the beginning you were talking about how you've done this. You've matched content with engagement, and you've seen that it can be very helpful. I think that's almost like the case study. I mean, hearing you say that, it's like you've seen it happen.
Yeah.
So
I see it every day. The thing is, you look at the amount of engagement you get when you go out. Let's just take it as an experiment, and go out and just engage on 10 other people's posts add value to them, or 5 even, you know, but do add value to them, and see what comes back. You know, see what comes back. Some people will be shocked, you know, if you're replying on a post which normally doesn't get engagement, but you've actually found it and you've gone, you know what, this needs more visibility. So you comment on it, you may well reshare it, and then it stuns the person that's written it, because there's 2 things about it, right? That a person that normally doesn't get engagement, but they've written such a fantastic article that when they do get engagement, because they're not used to it, they're like, oh my God, how do I reply to that? What do I do now? What is the next move? You know? So it may take a little bit of time to get a response, or you might just get a, oh, you know, quiet mouse, oh, thank you, kind of thing, you know? But stick with it, you know, just stick with it, and it does come back.
People really do often appreciate a great deal when you just comment and say something a little meaningful, you know, not just, hey, thanks, great post, whatever, but when you really kind of connect with their material.
Yeah.
You know, we call them, I guess, on the node graph, we call them outliers because they're the blue nodes on the outside of the graph. But those people are posting topically relevant, you know, posts, but they're not getting any engagement. But then when you jump in and say, hello, you know, I took a look at this and I enjoyed it, or I didn't enjoy it, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
To engage that conversation. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, let's just so yeah. We were talking about top days and top times. I hope that answers that anyway, at least.
Yeah, no, it was very helpful.
Okay, cool. So if I just go back to sharing. So we can see that the actual, you know, top times, top days are very different on Google Plus to Twitter in relation to this subject. You know, we can even see the hashtags are very different. Yeah. So again, it's something which we can keep in mind when we're creating content. You know, which hashtags should we use in order to give our content the best chance of increased visibility, right? That's important. If you want to as well, you can see from here, you can click on any one of these and you can see all of the related posts that are using these hashtags. Yeah, we can see them. They're all contained in here. All right, and you can choose whatever you want to do. All right, so you can decide which hashtags you can use or should avoid. Okay, because actually there are some hashtags out there which are just being spammed constantly. You know, photography being one, which tends to get a lot of spam relating to circle sharing, because people are forever looking for photography posts. You know, people were interested in visuals. And then for some reason you get these circle spammers. I'm not saying everyone, but the circle spammers that are sharing, they tag posts with photography and also with, you know, circle share, and it kind of just devalues it. So you can look at things that you may want to position your content in a different way. Yeah. So I've been talking for a very long time now. So if I just highlight some of the new things that we've literally just added 10 minutes after we went live. This is this grey box, and let me just magnify the screen a little bit. Okay. Where are we? This little grey box here. Can you see it now? Beforehand, we were just showing what the levels of engagement were, and I've just highlighted it in blue. Right now, we've added a few things. We've added the location, language, and gender. Now, we've got a few things running in the background, and of which some are still going live. So where you see unknown or unset, it means one or two things. One, the algorithm hasn't yet kicked in, or if it's unknown, it's basically because the name is entrepreneur marketing. That's not male or female, right? And basically what we're doing is trying to ascertain or understand who are male, who are female. And not all APIs where we get the data from actually show that. Yeah. So we have what's called a first name guesser, which covers approximately 90% of the first names from around the world. And when it now looks at a profile name, then if it says Mark, James, Philip, whatever, then the chances are it's a high probability it's a male. Yeah. If it's Louise, Jane, or Michaela, then the high chances are it's a female. And all we're doing it's just saying this is a probability that this person is a male or female. Obviously, we'll still have the unknown split, but how is that going to be useful? Well, the beginning of next week, these will become clickable, and by clicking on them, it will refresh all of the data on the dashboard to reflect what males are saying about a specific topic, all right, and what they are sharing. Female, what females think about a specific topic, and you will see the actual discussions and the words and the phrasings that the two genders actually use, and then also by clicking on the unknowns, all right, from the brands that are publishing content, what they like to talk about and how they like to talk about it are all very, very different. So why have we done this? Well, basically it's to help people and our users get a better understanding of writing content or creating content for the audience, the people that should be reading it, all right? So if you're writing specifically for females, you need to be using a tone of voice or the words that align with what they're using, right? If you're looking at it from a male perspective, then you need to write content from their perspective and use their terms and phrasings as from a male perspective. The unknowns or the brands, which will also be in there, you'll be able to, it will show up as a brand, the name will be brand, gender will be brand or organization. You'll be able to do a comparison and say, well, this is what the brands are saying, all right, and the words that they're using, but is it aligning with the audiences, the people that it's intended for? So you'll be able to say, you know what, you're not really using the right imagery, you're not using the right words, you're not using to get the idea. So from that whole comparison shift, and there'll be a drill down into that analysis, which will help our users get a better understanding from a content creation perspective. Whether you are acting as a consultant or as part of an agency or as part of an internal team for the brand, you can then say, well, actually, this is what's happening. I think we need to consider this, at least from a testing perspective. Yeah. The other things that we've used and added into now are we've improved our location database, and that's going to be improving over the next 3 days. That's getting implemented as we speak right now. So I'm going to leave that one just for a little bit, but you are going to be able to refine and or start your projects honing with vast improvement on accuracy over the next 3 days, and be able to then filter the results on your dashboard accordingly as well. Okay. Similarly, the language, we're now running a very accurate language identifier, which you can now filter the results. This is live right now. You can filter your results using the filter up here. So any language, and you can select your language, all of these, and the dashboard will actually reflect which language you were choosing from. It's one of the questions and discussions I had with Ian this morning. Right, Ian? Yeah. So that's all live right now. The other things that we've added today are the sentiment trainer. This was in version 2, but we we kind of not put it on the back burner, but we were waiting until the new servers went live. So if there's a post that you've seen and or NOD3x has identified it as being positive, but you know what, you think, you know, actually that's neutral, then you can select neutral. And actually you've then just trained or helped train NOD3x to better understand the wording that's being used within there. Okay, so that's from that perspective. The other things that we've added are, hey Eamon, how you doing, fella? Seen my man around for a while. He's my bromance chap. Let's just say within a project here, that let's just click on this engine, this word here. You can now see, and this again is brand new from today, that we've now got this delete posts in the top right-hand corner of the stream. Now, why would you ever want to use that? Well, for a part, up until now, you've had to, if a post or a series of posts have been indexed within NOD3x that contained a keyword, but you wanted to omit that, you had to click on this whole delete button, move on to the next one, delete, hold on to the next one, delete, the delete icon, yeah, in the bottom right, which is very, very time consuming. However, right now you can click on this delete posts, and what will happen, NOD3x will run in the background and remove all posts from your project that contain that word. And it will do it in the background, and it will notify you when it's completed. So therefore, you're making your projects, the data within that project, only relevant to you. Yeah, and hopefully that will help, you know, clear things and make things far more relevant for you, in terms of making sure that the data is only for you, yeah, and usable by you, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. So any questions on that? I think, you know, we're running at about exactly 60 minutes, but if people have got any quick questions, then I'm more than happy to answer.
Yeah, just one for me, if you don't mind, Lee. I am pretty sure I picked up that you've made the page changing easier.
Yeah.
Is that right? Solve some issues there and all that little thing. I just, in case there's other people out there like me who split between clients, accounts, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's just worth showing that, because I think that was I'd noticed it was a lot better. So. Yeah,
that's a very, very good point. Let me just bring and change from here. So I've got things ready to show. So let me get that there and go to the settings page. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do right now is just take people through what they need to do in order to, as James has pointed out, how to switch from your Google Plus profile to a Google Plus page. Okay, so in here then, you need to first of all switch to your page, and then click on the settings icon within Google Plus. Now, for this, the critical thing is here, you will only have access to what I'm about to show you if you are the owner of the page. All right. If you're a manager of the page, you'll have to ask the owner for what I'm about to show you, because you won't be able to see it. And what we're looking for is this third-party tools. Okay. Here we've got, and I'm quite happy, there's a long email address, and only owners of this page will see it. Yeah. You'll need that email, and you will also need the password. Okay. So obviously, you know, if you are the manager of this, and the page owner or whatever will need to pass this on to you in order to set NOD3x up accordingly. Now, once you have that information, you can then switch back to NOD3x, and what you're looking to do is to click on your profile username, so you as an individual, and then go to the link Google Plus pages. If you previously linked to it, then you would select it from the drop down here. Okay? Now, because of the security aspects of it, you may be asked from time to time to re-enter that information. So actually, whether I'm linking a Google Plus page or whether I'm selecting one and it's asking me to re-verify from Google's own perspective, it's exactly the same process. So what I'm going to do right now is just click on NOD3x, and you will get this authentication box. Okay, people should be pretty used to seeing that right now. Okay. If your page doesn't appear within these top, oh, you can't see that, can you? So let me just switch this thing over, because it opens up in a new chat box. So this is what I'm now seeing. Okay. If the page doesn't appear within this list here, then you will need to click on Add Account. All right. Now the email from the third-party tools that you saw within the settings panel on your page, you paste it in there. Okay, so let me just copy that. Okay, and then you enter the password, and then just click sign in. And it will say NOD3x would like to, and here we're just saying have offline access. You click on accept. Hopefully it hasn't logged me out of there, but now the page and NOD3x will actually then switch over to being managed by NOD3x. Okay, and I can now just show you that. So you can now see in the top here, can you see it's now NOD3x page? Yeah? So remember, you have to sign into or authorize NOD3x as the page, but from your personal profile. Okay? Now, when switching back, let me show you switching back. So here we can see I'm NOD3x. I click on the NOD3x. I click on Google linked accounts. Here I can see myself, John, and another team member. All I want to do is click on me. Google, because of the whole privacy and security thing, is asking me to verify, yeah, who I am. Now, this actually stops anybody trying to log into your other profile. So another page manager, yeah. For example, John couldn't sign into my account, okay, which is why we have to go through this verification process. So now I'm just going to click on me. I accept it, and then NOD3x will then switch back to being me. And you can see at the top, I'm now switched back. Okay. Now you can switch or add as many pages as you like to this. Okay. This is part of that first G Plus Pro, but you can add as many pages as you like and manage them from there. Okay. Does that okay? Does that answer that one?
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect.
Thank you very much. Well, unless there are any other questions, I'm happy to stay on in the comments and all that kind of stuff. But thanks very much for your time. It's been quite a long HOA, just slightly over an hour. Hope it's answered a few questions and that the understanding of where we're going with NOD3x and where we're moving on from. And please keep that feedback and suggestions coming in. It really is invaluable. Sincere apologies from me for being AWOL. I do want to thank very much personally from myself and also from Polly for the work that John does, because he really has enabled us to move forward leaps and bounds. So thank you very much, John. And also to the community members as well for their continued support and feedback and engagement on our posts and just all-round support. We're a little project really, and we're quite a small team. In terms of, we've got 6 full-time developers, and then there's myself, John, and Polly, just trying to manage all of these things. But yeah, just keep in touch and let us know what you think in the comments below. Okay, cheers, guys. Speak to you soon.